Hello and welcome to Korere, a platform for big conversation across the country. My name is Godwin Sunday. Well, as Nigeria gradually moves towards the 2027 elections, political activities and groups' alignments are already beginning to shape the national conversations. Well, across the country, different political movements and support groups are becoming more active, mobilizing supporters, building grassroots structures, and positioning themselves ahead of the next electoral cycle. Now, from political coalitions to citizens driven movements, the political atmosphere is already and steadily becoming even more crucial, and it is gaining even more momentum. Now, one of the most visible amongst them remains the obedient movement, which gained national prominence during the 2023 elections and continues to remain and maintain a strong presence, especially among young voters and voters in rural and urban areas. Well, but beyond the mobilization and online engagements, questions remain about structures, influence, sustainability, and the role these movements may play in shaping Nigerians' political future ahead of 2027. Tonight on Corero, we will examine political group movements ahead of the 2027 elections and what their growing influence means for Nigerians' democracy. Tonight, joining me is Avotu Johnson Barry, who is the international coordinator of the Obedience Movement, and he will help us put all of these issues in perspective. Please stay with us as the conversation begins immediately after this break. Welcome back. Now, as the political landscape heats up for the 2027 general elections in Nigeria, the traditional battlefield of political parties is being heavily reshaped by powerful identity driven civic and grassroots movements. Major political movements and groups driving the narrative ahead of the 2027 elections, even gaining more momentum. Now, among them, we have the very three that are very prominent right now, but let's even see how many we can take. Although we have prominent ones, which is the City Boy movement, originally formed in 2022 to back President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's initial presidential bid. The City Boy movement has transitioned from an informal campaign group into a highly institutionalized, well-funded national political machine aiming for Tinubu's re-election in 2027. Now, outside the City Boy movement, we also have the popular obedient movement, which has held its own campaign and also movements at rallies around Lagos, Port Harcourt, and also Abuja and few other states. Well, the obedient movement, which fundamentally disrupted the 2023 election cycle under Peter Obi, remains the fundamental bedrock of Nigerians' alternative political awakening. However, heading, heading towards 2027, this ecosystem is evolving both in name and in strategy. Well, to directly counter the flashy, affluent branding of the City Boys, it's a massive segment of the obedience base and broader anti-establishment youth rallied under a new banner. The Village Boys have also emerged. They call themselves the Village Boys Movement. Now, what does this even mean, the Village Boys Movement? Now, this is also a very critical question to begin to look at when it has to do with movements that support political operation within the country. Now, not also forgetting that they are operating under the motto of on board, unafraid, unstoppable. It deliberately positioned itself as the voice of the masses against the political aristocracy. Now, one of the most significant strategy developments ahead of 2027 is the birth of the OK movement. Now, again, this is another a movement which they call the OK movement. Now, what does the OK movement? Now, it's a two-word that is being brought together. So, for those of us that don't understand what the OK movement is all about, now this stands for the O. Stands for Peter Obi, which the P was removed, and rather they subscribe to the O, which is Obi, and then also the K stands for Rabiu Kwankwaso, which is the initials, and the K was removed, and also the K was the R was, beg your pardon, was removed, and the K was subscribed to, which stands for the Rabiu Kwankwaso movement, which is right now the Obi Kwankwaso movement, and this is largely championed by members of the NDC. And of course, this is a new movement that has also been able to gain traction of recent. Now, this makes the number of movements so far, place it simultaneously, we have about 4 movements right now that will be championing the course of 2027 election. Now, how relevant are this movement? Recall we started from the City Boy movement. We moved to the village movement and the village boys movements, and of course we've talked about the OK movement, and also we're looking at various movements across the country. But then these movements, are they really influencing democratic ethics and ethos? Do they really hold the ground when it has to do with political deliberation, political position of the electorate when it matters in terms of taking political decision? Recall that the Rabiu Kwankwaso group have been able to flag their red and white in various groups and also various foyer. But this is just a movement. But then we'll look at all of this tonight and trying to even x-ray all of this position. Now, recall again, I mentioned that the OK movement represents the ongoing push for opposition forces to merge their distinct geopolitical strongholds. But tonight with me to have the conversation is Avotu Johnson, doctor, PhD holder, who will be helping us put all of these issues in perspective. And not to forget that he is also the international coordinator of the Obedient Movement. What a night to discuss about movement on this conversation. Please stay with us as the conversation begins immediately after this break.
Correro, your front row seat to the most pressing issues, from the corridors of power to the heart of our communities. We bring you unfiltered insight, fearless journalism, and the conversations that matter. And I invite you to this big conversation table as we analyze the top stories, ask the tough questions, and hold power to account. News that informs, analysis that empowers, debate that drives change. Correro, the big conversation, every weekday at 7 p.m. only on Rapid TV.
Meet the men and women shaping the future of Nigeria. Get to know your representatives at the National Assembly. From lawmaking to constituency projects, we'll take you behind the scenes and inside the chambers of the Nigerian National Assembly. Learn about the bills they are championing, the challenges they are facing, and the impacts they are making in their constituencies. We'll also bring you closer to the people they are serving and the stories that shape their work. Join us on NAS Watch every Friday on Rapid Television at 7 p.m. So get informed, get engaged, and get to know the leaders shaping Nigeria's future.
right, is the person of Dr. Avotu Johnson Barry, International Coordinator, Obedient Movement, and he'll be helping us put all of these issues in perspective. Well, Dr. Bure, Dr. Avotu, it's a delight to have you on Corero.
Thank you for having me, and good evening, Nigerians.
Well, let's even dive into the conversation. Before you came in, we've already given a background to some of the scope of the conversation, but then the obedient movement euphoria within the media space have become dim lately.
Okay.
Good. And to resurrect this movement and to resurrect the conversation, you claim to be the international coordinator of this movement. Against this backdrop, we've had press briefing with you where you said you've expelled Peter Obi from the obedient movement. You expelled also Yunus Atanko from this whole obedient movement fragment.
Yes.
But then let's even start from the origin of this conversation. Tell us about the origin of the obedient movement in itself.
I'll just say thank you first for giving us the opportunity to face the world, to face Nigerians and speak the truth, even when we know that the politics of Nigeria is filled with lies upon lies and upon lies. That's why we've decided to keep writing books so that the generation that will come after now will get first-hand information of what went out at what time, by whom, and very importantly, I will keep telling everyone across the world that needs to listen that the politics of Nigeria cannot and will never be in the head of one man. We formed the obedient movement from the influence of the NSAS getting to the Nigeria Youth Democratic Party, NYDP, a political party formed during the NSAS that was not registered by INEC. From there, we decided to melt into other political parties. And we found a man worthy in the personality of Professor Patotomi, who said he was running to become president of Nigeria. And I was on a TV station talking about the fire that we were going to give the incumbent APC government by Muhammadu Buhari, who is supposed to hand over to a new government. And we said we were going to be obedient to whosoever candidate presented by the Professor Patotomi coalition at that time. In another meeting, Patotomi told us that Peter Obi is the person. And we adopted Peter Obi. But when we formed the obedient movement, it was OBE. Obey, obedient to Nigeria, to the policies of government. Obey, obedient to the influence of good governance, quality leadership, and the respect for the rule of law. We only changed it to OBI to suit the acronym of the man Peter Obi that we adopted, endorsed to run as president, as the best presidential candidate for 2023. And after that, the election was rigged. We protested like hell. And with everything that's happened so far, jumping from one political party to the other, we are seeing that our over 100 million followers, members in the real, authentic OBE, obedient movement are scattered all over the political parties.
But you've been silent for the last couple of
We were not silent, we were only planning.
The obedient movements have been quiet. When you say the
OBE
has been quiet for
yes, because from nowhere Peter Obi came up and said he wants to give
the
a
OBI
yes
has been leading the trend.
Well, I will tell you.
Help us even understand.
Yes, I will tell you.
Correlation.
I will tell you the reason why the OBE has been in the back doors. Peter Obi at a space, the violent space. Peter Obi heard that we were planning to have leadership for the real obedient movement. He went ahead, hijacked the movement, and appointed Yunus Atanko as the obedient movement national coordinator, which is not supposed to be so. Peter Obi is not part of the obedient movement from the first place. Peter Obi was only adopted by the obedient movement. And we don't see Peter Obi having any right to appoint somebody for us. So we decided to sit down, have a rethink, rejig whatever has been done. And this has been going on for a long while.
But this came after Peter Obi left the Labour Party.
What does the obedient movement got to do? Hold on. What does the obedient movement got to do with Labour Party? Labour Party is a political party.
Let's work with
Don't
time.
push Labour. Don't put the obedient movement on Labour Party. Labour Party is a political party.
Can we work with time?
Yes, go ahead.
Well, in law, we'll say that delay defeats even equity.
Yes.
Even in law.
Yes.
But looking at all of this, when Peter Obi was pushing, and a lot of Nigerians were supporting the obedient movement.
Yes.
You never came up to say that there was a difference between the OBE.
Because there is no question for that. There was no question for that.
Peter Obi left the OBI.
Yes.
And moved to the OBE. All of a sudden, we're seeing a conversation.
Yes.
That revolves around expelling Peter Obi.
I've just told you from I told you from the beginning the reason why all that happened.
Let's look at this holistically.
Yes.
Can we say at this point that Peter Obi has derailed from the obedient movement? That's why he was expelled.
Yes, I will tell you that Peter Obi has chewed enough and has scattered the gathering of the real obedient movement into different parties, which was not the original perspective of creating the obedient movement.
Well, the obedient movement was created in particularly to revamp the Nigerian political system.
The Nigerian political system.
Were people, members, were they supposed to be derailed? Or they were not fundamentally strong within that?
I'll tell you that the question you're asking, I think the best answer is that we have a lot of young blind political loyalists in Nigeria who don't read and can never lead.
So you're saying that your members are blind? Your members.
Some of the members of the obedient movement. Listen, don't help me. Don't sell what I didn't say. No, I didn't say so. My members, the authentic members of the obedient movement are not blind. That's why we have decided to push Peter Obi out of this and bring in Nigeria.
Are you saying that about 200,000 obedient?
Not 200,000. We are more than 100 million Nigerians in the obedient movement.
By the statistics that we have, we can estimate and say that we have up to 1 million Nigerians registered as obedient members.
Yes, we don't.
We don't.
We don't. And you are going to. That's what we are driving to.
Let's work with the statistics.
Yes, that's what we are driving to now.
So you're saying that about 200,000 Nigerians that have identified with the obedient movement are dumb.
With the obedient movement, not with the obedient movement, with the obe's function of the obedient movement. They are just blind loyalists. People who don't understand politics, people who don't read, that's why they can't lead, people who have questionable characters, people who are online insulting people who are their father's age, people who don't respect the rule of law. You can't call us, you can't say you are obedient and you say Obi or nothing. What, God forbid, I keep saying this, what about if Obi falls down and die today or sleep and never wakes up? God forbid. Are you saying that Nigeria cannot find its place in the rule of law? That's what you are saying. In politics, you cannot say Obi or nothing. Because if you say Obi or nothing, it means you are not democratic. You don't want to follow due process. You don't want to follow the influence of a primary election. What the Electoral Act have said, then what makes you different from the people you're fighting in the APC? We are saying the APC are not doing things right. We are saying the APC are not accountable to rule of law. You don't want to follow the rule of law to go through a primary election. You are jumping from one political party to the other. Your people are insulting people online, humiliating people, calling people names, and you have not one day called them to order and say, if you believe you are like me, you should not insult anyone. Is that the politics we want to inherit? You should be accountable to everything you're doing. And the new obedient movement under the OBE, under my care, has decided to make sure that the over 100 million Nigerians who are members will rectify themselves as members by going back to register as obedient movement members.
As you speak right now,
yes,
there is no register for the obedient movement.
For the new obedient movement.
Let's be on the same page.
Yes.
As we speak right now.
That's right.
There is no register for the obedient movement. Are we on the same page on that?
That's why we have decided to take over the movement.
Is there a register?
The register is opening soon online.
Is there a register?
Yes, it's registered. It's coming up online very soon.
There is no register of members of the obedient movement. You've come out to say that you've expelled Yunusa Tanko.
Yes. From
being
the movement.
A member.
From the movement. You can.
You've also mentioned
the Constitution of Nigeria. Let me say this so that let me jump in. Let me jump in so that you will not send a wrong narrative.
Let me clarify.
You are a media man. I'm here to speak.
That's why I'm asking the question.
Yes.
So like we can put this all information out there for people to make informed decisions.
That's right.
Now,
go ahead.
You've expelled Peter Obi from the party.
Yes. Not the party. It's not
sorry,
the party.
I beg your pardon.
It's a political association.
From the movement.
Yes.
Which is also enshrined in the Nigerian Constitution. I think Section 43 of the
written or unwritten
Constitution.
Yes.
Well, you've also said you expelled Tanko and a few other members from the party based on
the leadership.
From the whole movement.
Yes.
Now, let's go back to that conversation which you had, which you said, of course, you organized a press conference saying that you've expelled these members from the movement. But then the obedient movement from time immemorial, from when it was formed, long before the end SARS protest, never had
a register.
That's
right.
But then you expelled a member from the party. Help us understand.
Obedient movement is not a party.
Movement. I beg your pardon. I keep mentioning party because I think because the obedient movement has been linked so much to Labour Party. I beg your pardon. It was supposed to be linked to the Nigerian Youth Development Party, but then I beg your pardon on that. Now help us understand and help Nigerians to also understand how do we correlate this information that a movement that does not have a register can still expel members that are not registered and are not part of a registration process from its movements. In the organization of association in Nigeria by the Constitution, it gives reason for a registered or an unregistered activities. When you are registered, you can be sued, and when you're not registered, you can be sued. But you have the privilege to operate as an association. That was what the obedient movement passed through from its creation. It became organic after we put pen and paper on ground to build the name, to move and to mobilize people on the street. It became viral. Everyone wants to be a member of the obedient movement because of what it talks about. Rule of law, respect of rule of law, good governance, quality leadership in Nigeria. So practically, Obi came up as someone who was endorsed under that movement in 2023 and ended up not making it to the presidency as president of Nigeria. And after that, all activities that has given Obi the influence to lead that movement has been a self-aggrandization, which is not the original concept to have created the obedient movement in the first place. One, who did Peter Obi consult before he declared that Yunusa Tanko is the national coordinator? No one. But you never
hold on.
You never challenged.
We did.
You never challenged.
We did challenge, but we didn't come out to the public. Listen.
You never challenged the international leadership of that. You say you never came to the public.
Yes, so we didn't come to the public.
Put that on the record.
Listen, we didn't come to the public. You know why we didn't come to the public? We did not come to the public to challenge that because we felt that we are still one people looking for a Nigeria that is possible. We kept working. We kept seeing everything they are doing. They can't build a structure in the states, in the local government, in the world. The mistakes we did in 2023 that were rigged out is still there, pending, not checked. Who are the people that are supposed to be agents for 2027? No one. So where is the structure? Peter Obi is moving from one political party to the other, scattering everything we have worked on for 2023. We now decided when the Peter Obi left the NDC, the ADC to the NDC. What is that? He left some people in the Labour Party. He left some people in ADC. Some of them went to APC. Some of them are in ADC. And some of them followed him. The Lagos State candidate for Labour Party in 2023, the governorship. You all know him. You all know how close yes, you all know how close he is with Peter Obi. Where is he today? He's in the ADC. You know Valentine Ozigbo, who is the right-hand man of Peter Obi in 2023. Where is he today? He's in the APC.
The Anambra State governorship candidate.
Yes, in the APC. Where is George Mogalu, who just contested Anambra State governorship under the Labour Party? He's where? He's in the APC. Everybody is scattered because of the character of Peter Obi jumping from one party to the other. That is the reason why we felt that we cannot take it anymore. We were behind the doors trying to see how we could quench the issues. But it has come to the time and to the level where we can't take it anymore. We need to build a Nigeria that is possible, but not with one man, with Peter Obi. It should be with another person. And we are telling Nigerians that we have not declared any support for any presidential candidate in Nigeria for 2027 general elections. Until every party presents its candidate, we will now be able to extract the best and the best of all to present that person to Nigeria. And we promise that we are going to raise 1 million votes per state, which makes 37 million for the best candidate the obedient movement will present to Nigeria in 2027.
But let's go by the nomenclature.
Yes.
The nomenclature, which it is right now the obedient movement.
Yes.
Now, it takes deep insight to be able to differentiate between the OBI and the OBE.
Yes.
Right now. Wouldn't the movement been able to navigate itself to create some form of balance that Nigerians can be able to distinguish between the
OBI
obedience
and OBE
and the obedience?
Now,
or is it a deliberate move to confuse Nigerians?
No, we are not confusing anybody. We have just taken the obedient movement back to its origin. And that's why we have told Nigerians
to obey
the rules and regulations of a country, not to obey the rules. Well, you can't obey the rules because obey is a person. We have to obey. And let me tell you the reason.
The idea.
Hold on. Let me land so that you will not be going back and forth. We are holding a national convention for the obedient movement.
It's not a political party.
No, it's not. It's a political association.
Please go ahead.
It's a movement.
Please go ahead.
The obedient movement is a movement.
Just putting the record.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we are planning to hold a national convention where everyone who is a member of the polling unit, we have 5 members in each polling units across Nigeria. They are all going to be at the national convention. We have members in the ward. We have members in the local government. We have members in the state. We have members in the in the national. We have members in close to 85 countries across the world, both in Africa. They are all going to come to vote for anyone who wants to be the international coordinator to run the obedient
Dr.
movement.
Barry, let's be on the same page. When you say you have members across the world, members of the obedient movement have distanced themselves from even identifying with you and your organization as it stands.
Of course they should
now.
Because so they've been expelled.
When you say you have members,
when you expel people, what do you want? They'll fight you back.
Let's get to understand what you mean by members. Are they actual? Do you actually have members, or you have people that tend to support your cause?
Well, the Nigerian people who believe in the rule of law, who are real obedient, who are not about Peter Obi as a person, non-registered. Listen, hold on, you asked me a question, so allow me land. So now, those are the people who are the real obedient members. People who believe in the rule of law. People who believe in one party, not jumping up and down from party to party. People who believe in due process, following the Electoral Act to contest for president, do primary election, real one, and fight your way through and become a candidate. Those are the people that are our members. And at the National Convention coming up shortly, you will see the members of the obedient movement. And I tell you, by the time we decide on any presidential candidate, it will be something else. Even the Peter Obi himself that has been expelled from the Obedient Movement and Yunusa Tanko and his group, they can also come and re-register when our portal opens for registration and become a member. And if they want to still contest to be the coordinator of the group, they can also contest, and if they are voted, so be it. And if Peter Obi makes it as a presidential candidate under any political party, this Obedient Movement will extra Peter Obi alongside every other candidate if he remains the best, like what we saw in 2023. We'll endorse him and give him the 37 million votes that we have started working on across Nigeria. It's not, you see, it's not a fight about anyone. It's not a fight to demean Peter Obi. It's a fight to make sure that the right thing is done. The Obedient Movement is about a Nigeria that is possible, that must be possible. And we dare the President Ahmed Bola Tinubu and his gang or his group, if they dare try to rig this Obedient Movement out of place in the 2027 general election, I think Nigeria should close up. Well, because we will not accept.
Dr. Barry,
yes,
there is speculations that the Obedient Movement, movement has been is being funded by opposition political party that doesn't want the growth of politics, even governance in Nigeria.
It is a shame to say that.
You have become a tool for all of these political
gimmicks,
as we have it in the country. But then let's get you react at this point. Who funds and sponsors the Obedient Movement?
The Obedient Movement is not sponsored by anyone. The Obedient Movement is sponsored by the real original owners. We just lost one of the founding fathers of the Obedient Movement. He's called Ayodele Monde Ogedengbe. We lost him last month. That man was the man who gave Peter Obi a donation of a 6-bedroom duplex for an office for the Big Tent media publicity outfit to support Peter Obi in 2023. We are not just boys sitting on the streets. My group of the Obedient Movement, in what we call the VMCII, Vote Must Count International Initiative, donated more than 50 million naira to the Peter Obi Presidential Campaign Organization in 2023. So, getting sponsorship to do the right thing, I think it's not right to say so. Do I look like someone who can be used by anyone? Was I not in the forefront of the Obedient Movement in 2023? Do you know how many times I was invited by the DSS, arrested, humiliated? Do you know how many times the opposition, the ruling party pushed me to the floor? Do you know what I have lost? I have lost my livelihood because of this Obedient Movement. I lost my car for just 1.5 million, a car I bought for over 20 million. Who is talking about that? Who is the one paying for the buses that brought people from all the suburbs in 2023 for 52 days? Did Peter Obi give us a dime to do that protest? Was Peter Obi on the street with us in moving against the Buhari administration that rigged the election?
At this point in time, that the Obi's movement was not sponsored.
Was not giving any dime from anyone. What we are doing now, we are doing exactly we did for Peter Obi in 2023. Is what we are doing ahead of 2027 for whoever we adopt.
We cannot count also the benefits that the association also had.
Yes, the benefit is membership, support.
We cannot count also the benefits that this organization also had as a result of Obi,
God, let me tell you the truth. All the benefits, all the donations. Let me tell you,
has no relevance in this whole Obedient Movement.
The only relevance Obi had, the only relevance Obi has in this Obedient Movement is the money he collected as donation from Nigerians.
So Obi has literally no benefit.
No, what benefit does he have apart from collecting money from Nigerians in donation?
Influence. Well, you've talked about
Nigerians are tired for bad leadership, and we decided to host Peter Obi.
The nomenclature carries OBI and OBE.
Yes.
Now, OBI has been largely supported
by the
also
people.
Being, no, no, it's
And
not
sponsored
even,
by the
no,
people.
No, not even being supported by the people. It has and it has been endorsed
Yes.
by the people,
Yeah.
largely.
And,
But then
and
the-
why do you
the
think
OBE
why
right
do you
now,
think
which
the
you say
OBE is not adopted?
OBE
Yeah.
is largely supported by the constitutional provision
Yes.
of the Nigerian
Of
Constitution.
Nigerian Constitution.
Now, you're saying, let's get you
Go ahead.
to speak to the issues.
Yes.
Are you saying at this point that Peter Obi has little or no effect to the obedient movement? That's why you expelled him.
The reason why we expelled Peter Obi from the obedient movement is not to bring him down, but is to take back the movement to its original form, where the reason for its creation is the
He has little or no effect.
You are not allowing me talk.
Okay,
you have already taken sides.
I'm not.
You are a supporter.
I'm a journalist.
You are not a
my job is
journalist.
to put-
Your journalistic attitude has shown that you are supporting Peter Obi.
Let's be on the same page.
But you are not giving me the
Are you
privilege to
saying-
speak. You are asking me the question, you are answering it
don't have
yourself.
time.
But stop answering the questions and allow me answer the
I
question.
sincerely apologize.
You told me, you asked me about the relevance of Peter Obi
Please,
in
why?
the obedient movement. And I've told you, the reason why we expelled Mr. Peter Obi and Yunus Atanko from the movement is not because we want to put them down. It's because we want to take back the movement back to its original form that promotes breeding quality leadership, respect for the rule of law, and good governance. Politics and democracy is not about one man. The Obi movement, called Obedient by Peter Obi, is about Peter Obi as a person. That was not the original reason why it was formed. That's why we have to expel them from it and go back to the original reason, which is good governance, quality leadership, and respect for the rule of law, and building and breeding quality leaders.
And Obi doesn't stand for rule of law.
If Obi stands for the rule of listen, if Obi stands for the rule of law, why does he? Why is he jumping from different party to the other? And why is Obi now not ready for a primary election in a party?
Dr. Barry, let's be on the same page.
Yes.
You're saying right now that
Yes.
Obi doesn't stand for
the rule of law. Yes,
rule of law.
he doesn't.
Doesn't stand for good governance.
He doesn't.
And as such,
Yes.
he was expelled
Yes.
from the party.
Not party.
For some, I beg your pardon, from
Association.
the movement.
Yes.
I beg your pardon. He was expelled by yourself and a few others.
Yes.
That came to that conclusion. So I kept posing this to you.
Yes.
Does it mean that Obi's relevance in the party doesn't hold water, or in the movement doesn't hold water?
Well, in 2023, Peter Obi was adopted by the Obedient movement. We did that because we x-rayed the political presentation of every political party for their presidential candidate. I say it today, I said it yesterday, and I'll say it tomorrow. Whether you like it or not, Peter Obi remains the best presidential candidate in 2023. I keep telling people, I'm a political scientist. I understand the gimmicks of politics, and most especially the politics of Nigeria. In every electioneering process, there's a political smell. The political smell of 2015 was late President Muhammadu Buhari. You saw the movement. You saw everything. It was going to be hard to rig. In 2019, we saw Alhaji Atiku Abubakar winning the election but rigged. In 2023, we saw the Obi movement coming like a tsunami. He won that election but it was rigged. My brother and Nigerians, in 2027, another political smell is coming. It will be a lock or a favored issue if Peter Obi ends up carrying that same smell. But if he doesn't carry that same smell, the smell of the next candidate is who the real Obedient movement will give their 37 million votes to.
Dr. Barry, there are also speculations
Yes.
that right now you've been sponsored by the opposition. And as such, you also, the Obedient movement right now is also pitching its tent around the
This is the second time you're asking me the question. I've told you.
I'm going by Rotimi Amechi.
Okay.
And also a few political stalwarts, which the Obedient movement is trying to pitch its tent around.
Yes.
Again, for clarity,
Yeah.
is the Obedient movement
Yes.
pitching its tent around a particular candidate in order to frustrate the voices of the opposition? Are you an instrument that has been even built to distract Nigerians right
Well,
now, because that's what is even on the socials. Let's get
definitely, you see, like I told you from the beginning, most Nigerian young people don't read, so they can't lead. They are just blind political loyalists to people who are thieves by proxy. What I'm saying, the obedient movement that we have today, with over 100 million people who believe that Nigeria must be possible, is not bought by any element of the opposition or the ruling party. We don't have business with any presidential candidate for now, or presidential aspirant for now.
Not even Rotimi Amechi.
Not even Rotimi Amechi. All we have now is an obedient for Nigeria, waiting for all political parties to present their candidates. If Rotimi Amechi ends up becoming the candidate of a political party, and Peter Obi on the same point, and we extray them, and Rotimi Amechi becomes the best candidate for us, is there anything wrong in supporting Rotimi Amechi as president of Nigeria?
Let's not give answer to that question tonight, Dr. Barry.
Yes.
Because I understand that also our time is fast spent even tonight. So permit me to tag this conversation as part one of this whole conversation, because we'll definitely bring you back to be able to look deep into this conversation, because our time is already fast paced. So this is what I want to say. Thank you so much, Dr. Barry. Find our time to be with us here on Correro.
Well, thank you so much. But before I go, I think I'd like to tell Nigerians the real obedient movement is holding its national convention, and those who are the real obedient will be seen there, from the polling units to the ward, to the local government, to the states, to the national, and we will decide who to support for the 2027 presidential election to save Nigeria from this catastrophic pain.
Well,
thank you.
Dr. Barry also forgot to add that as it stands right now, the obedient movement does not have a register and does not have a database.
Oga, our registration is coming up. Don't worry, the portals will be open. Nigerians, don't worry, Nigerians, you'll be free to register.
You forgot to mention that person. I wanted to add.
Don't worry, it will come up very soon. The registration portal for the obedient movement will be open, and you'll be free to register and become a full member.
You forgot to mention it. Well, who am I not to remind you on it? Well, viewer, don't forget that my name is Godwin Sunday. You can also follow us across all our social media handle currently showing on your screen. And you can also download the RapidTV app from the Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcasts. Always remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Do enjoy the next rest of your night rest. Bye for now.